This video will be a guide to carry-on travel toiletries. I'll go into detail on some of the products available, some great containers for storing them. I'll show you some great minimalist toiletry pouches and hopefully give you some ideas on how to slim down your travel toiletry kit. If you're new to minimalist toiletries, you have a few options on how to get started. You can either gather all the products you already use and then just find smaller containers for storing them. Or the more daunting option is to find products that you like that also work great for travel. Often people start out with a ton of liquids, shampoo, conditioner, pastes, and gels, and then buy a bunch of containers to store them in. This works fine in most cases. However, the downside is liquids are heavy, they can leak into your bag, and you're limited on the quantity that you can carry. For carry-on travel, airlines limit the size of liquids containers to 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters, and they must all be stored inside a 1 liter or 1 quart bag. It varies by country and how strict they are with these rules, whether the bag needs to be clear or whether you need to take it out of your luggage. Either way, it's always a good idea to separate your liquids into a clear container before going through airport security. One way to get around the hassle of dealing with liquids is to try to reduce or eliminate them completely if possible and transition more to solid products. A great place to start with this is shampoo and conditioner bars. There are a ton of great options out there, but you're probably going to have to experiment with a few different brands to find one that works for you. However, 3 of the most popular brands with a ton of great solid toiletry options are Etique, Lush, and Dr. Bronner's. Etique is French for ethical. They have a huge selection of solid bars. This is shampoo, laundry bar, a solid deodorant stick here, as well as face cleaners and conditioners. Lush is another popular brand. We have solid shampoo conditioner bars, but not as many options as Etique. Dr. Bronner's is one of my favorites. It's a vegetable-based Castile soap that can be used for almost anything. They have solid and liquid options in a ton of different scents. You can use it as hair, face, body wash, laundry detergent, and it's cheaper and more widely available than those other 2 brands. The next thing to look into for switching over to solids is deodorant and sunscreen. These are easier because the solid forms of these don't count as liquids, and there are a ton of great solid bar deodorant and reef-safe sunscreen options available. Another good option is a mineral stick. It's not technically a deodorant per se because it doesn't have any fragrance. It's basically just a rock that you rub in your armpit. It prevents bacteria from growing, which will keep you from stinking. Toothpaste is one of the things I haven't found a good solid option for, but it's not because they don't exist. I've tried both tooth powders and tooth tabs. They're very small, they work fine, but I just don't get that same clean feeling in my mouth that I do when I use regular toothpaste. They're also more expensive and not as common as regular toothpaste. If you have a product that works great for you, non-liquid or paste, let me know. I'd love to hear recommendations. As far as everything else goes, there are a few things you might have a hard time finding solid options for, like makeup, hair care, and skin products. For those things, the best solution is to find the smallest container you can get away with using. Well, it's ideal. I don't think you necessarily need to convert all your toiletries to solids, but if you still have some liquids left, you're going to need a good leak-proof container for storing them. The containers your liquids come in tend to be either too big or they're not designed to be leak-proof. Take, for example, this mini Dr. Bronner's bottle. It's small enough to take on a plane, but this little pop top is prone to leaking. You're going to be much better served by transferring this into a smaller, more leak-proof bottle. For larger quantities of things like shampoo and conditioners, I like to use silicone bottles. They're fairly easy to use, easy to refill, and leak-proof. There are a lot of options out there, but I like to go with a high-quality set from a good company like Eagle Creek, or these are the Go Tubes from Human Gear. For your other liquids, you're going to want to estimate how much you're going to need on your trip and then decant it into a smaller bottle. Some good options here are these little Nalgene bottles. These come in a few different sizes. These are extremely leak-proof, very lightweight. This is the 30 milliliter or 1 ounce size. Also, stacks from Human Gear work great. These come in a variety of sizes, are extremely durable and leak-proof. For smaller amounts, you can use mini plastic droppers. These are about 15 milliliters or half an ounce. These are common with backpackers. You can get them on Amazon in bulk or on lightsmith.com in as small as a 3 milliliter bottle. If you have something really small, these little Japanese condiment bottles work. They're leak-proof. However, they're just really small. They're kind of hard to refill and they're difficult to clean. Another outside the box option is to use contact lens cases. These are tiny, cheap, waterproof. You can get them in bulk in a variety of colors. And then of course, when you're traveling, you can always snag the little mini shampoo bottles from the hotels. These are usually small, lightweight, waterproof, and refillable. I haven't found a good option for bug spray. Repellant makes this little tiny 1/2 ounce bottle. It does tend to leak though. You can also buy these other little squirt bottles in a variety of sizes. I found these things can also tend to leak though. I think really the best option here is to just go with bug wipes. One trick, if you're concerned about leaks, you can take some plastic wrap, cut out a little section, and then take off the lid to the bottle, put it over, and then screw the lid back down. For thicker pastes where you don't need a leak-proof container, these Human Gear Go tubs work great. They come in, these are 0.4, also a larger 2-ounce size. The cap is really easy to come off, but it doesn't pop off when you're not using it. And you can also use the contact lens case for pastes if it's not a huge quantity. For things like toothpaste, I just buy the mini bottles in the sample section and then I refill them when they get low. You can do this on any tubes as long as the openings are the same size. To show you how that works, you just squeeze all the air out of the smaller one until the paste is right on the edge. Kiss the two ends together, make sure they're lined up, and then just squeeze it into the smaller one. And now that one is full. For carrying pills and medications, I like to use these little mini bottles you can get in the travel section in some retail stores. They're tiny, they protect your pills from getting crushed, and you can refill them on the road if you need to. There are a lot of options you can use here. They sell these little keychain things. The Go tubs also work great for holding pills. You could also use the contact lens case, or a lighter option is to just use a plastic bag. However, for prescription medications, I'd recommend carrying them in the original container, or at the very least, taking a picture of the label. Now let's talk about soap containers. As far as I'm concerned, you have 4 options here, each with its advantages and disadvantages. I have the Matador flat pack soap case, a Ziploc freezer quart, cloth bag with a drawstring, and 2 plastic soap cases. The Matador bag, it's like a little mini dry bag. Hold your soap in here. It doesn't leak, and it has a semi-porous fabric that's gonna help it to dry out when your soap's in the bag. Cloth bags work great for keeping your soap dry. You just need to make sure it's dry before you put it in here. This is a little muslin bag I got off of Celestial Gifts, about 4 by 6. That's a good size, it holds most bars of soap. This little one from Etique is made from agave fiber. It works great and is only $5. The 2 soap cases I have here are the luxurious Snow Kingdom soap case, and this little case is from Sistema. This one comes with a built-in soap saver. It has a nice tight-fitting lid and then a big, thick rubber band here to make sure it doesn't pop off. This is a recommendation from Reddit, this little Sistema case. It's like a little mini Tupperware with a snap lid. It doesn't come with a soap saver, but you can buy these online and just use scissors to cut them down to shape. Stick that one in the bottom here, and has a great tight fitting seal. Advantages, disadvantages, cloth bags are cheap, but they're not leak proof. This thing is expensive and fairly durable, cheap, not durable. Soap cases work good, but they're heavy. Now I want to go into more detail on laundry and laundry soaps. You have a few options here. You can just use your laundry detergent from home and decant it into a smaller bottle. However, unless it's ultra concentrated, you're probably gonna have to bring quite a lot. I think a better option is to use either a concentrated liquid like Dr. Bronner's Castile soap in a little smaller bottle. Sea to Summit also makes a concentrated biodegradable laundry wash that works great. You can use the solid option of Castile soap, or Etique also makes a solid laundry bar. There's also laundry sheets and laundry strips. Sea to Summit makes this little case of strips. These things are really tiny. I find you need to use 2 or 3 of these for a sink load. So this little case here may last you 2 to 3 weeks. Lazy Coconuts also makes a good sheet here. These things are a little bit bigger, but they are more concentrated. One of these things is a full load of laundry. The downside is these are hard to replace on the road, and you need to be careful not to get them wet because they'll just disintegrate. Merino wool is a little bit different. If you're traveling with a merino wool shirt, it's a good idea to use a detergent that's either made for wool or delicates. Some options here are Dr. Bronner's. You could use the solid, the liquid is easier to use. I would use the unscented version and wash it in the sink. Also, Soak is a rinseless, delicate wash. The Laundress makes a wool and cashmere soap. And then Sink Suds is for delicates, and these things are nice because it comes in these little individual packets. Now let's go over some of the more solid toiletry options like razor, floss, toothbrush, mirror. Razors aren't too complicated. The disposable ones tend to be fairly ultra light, but they don't work quite as great. The Gillette Venus Mini here works good. Little small, sleek design. This is the original head that comes on it, but you can switch it out for any of the other Gillette razor heads. Toothbrush, I usually just take a full-size one. I don't really think it's worth it taking a travel one. The space and weight savings really isn't that much for a toothbrush that doesn't work as great. If you want to save even more space, just take a full-size one and break off part of the handle. I don't think it's worth worrying about the mini travel floss. The weight difference really isn't that much for the amount of floss that you get. For example, the mini floss is about 5 grams or 0.2 ounces, while the full size is about 12 grams or 0.4 ounces, so a little over twice as heavy. The small container only has 4 meters of floss though, while the big one has over 50 meters, so 12 times the amount of floss here for a weight gain of about 0.2 to 0.3 ounces. I just don't think it's worth the weight space savings. For mirrors, I've had this little mini one for years. It's like a little makeup compact one. There's a ton of options out there that all work really great. Also, some toiletry kits come with one. This is from the Sea to Summit hanging toiletry bag. This thing also works great. Another one by Shavewell that I bought a few years ago has a little suction cup on it. I can't find it, but that one also works great. Nail clippers, just bring whatever you have from home. J.A. Hinkle's has an ultra slim one, but I find it hard to justify a $50 price tag. Now I want to briefly touch on first aid kits. If you bring one, or how big it is or what you put in it is going to be highly dependent on your needs and where you're traveling. If you'll mostly be near civilization, you probably don't need a lot here. However, if you're going to be hiking, traveling somewhere more remote, or have a lot of medications, then you might need to bring more. Some basics that I bring on most trip, pain medication like Tylenol or Advil, something for upset stomach like Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, and then if I'm going to be on a boat, I'll bring some Dramamine. A few Band-Aids, maybe some tape for blisters, antibiotic ointment, and maybe an antihistamine. And fun tip, you can actually make a little mini Ziploc bag. Just take a larger bag, cut a section off, and then use clear packaging tape to seal up the end. I think that covers all the travel toiletries. So now I want to talk about how much of everything to bring and show you some travel toiletry bags. If your trip is fairly short, say less than 2 weeks, I think it makes sense to just estimate how much you're going to need for your whole trip and then just bring that. However, for a longer trip over 2 weeks, it doesn't make sense to carry around a giant pile of toiletries with you. My general rule is to pack for a week and then just restock on the road after that. With the exception of prescriptions and specialty products, pretty much anywhere you're going to be going is going to have all the basic toiletries that you need in most general stores, or you can always snag the mini bottles when you're in hotels. Now I'll show you some of my favorite minimalist travel toiletry bags. My top 2 are the Eagle Creek Quick Trip Extra Small, and then the Sea to Summit hanging toiletry bag. These are both ultralight. They have great organization. This one has a little hanging hook, big pockets. They hold everything I need for international travel. Some countries require your toiletries to be in a clear bag, so you could either separate them or just use a clear toiletry bag. Some of my favorites here are the Sea to Summit Sea Pouch. This is the Osprey Ultralight Liquids Pouch, the Tom Bin 3D Clear Pouch, and then the Night Eyes 311 Pouch. Or you could always just use a quart Ziploc bag. I hope you enjoyed this guide to carry on travel toiletries. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or suggestions on tips or products that I didn't cover here. And again, thanks for watching.